Hey, good morning, 22 Squared Mobilize. Folks, this is Karen Resnick from RhythmOne. Hope you're doing well and having an awesome morning. And I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I wanted to go ahead and give you a little bit of an overview of my company and what we offer and how it could pertain to Equality Florida. So bear with me. I'm a faceless voice here to assist. Um, so, uh, RhythmOne is actually a video company, video first company. We are the result of several acquisitions over the last several years, including Radium One, which is where I originally came from. Radium One did social media interaction and performance media, and we were bought by Rhythm One in 2017. And last year we actually acquired Yumi. So some of you may have heard of Yumi. They are a massive leader in the video and connected TV space. So now all three of those companies are Rhythm One, and we have offerings that essentially allow you to target people all the way from awareness-based media down to conversion media and everything in between, which includes things like influencer marketing, so that you can select social media influencers to evangelize your brand message and distribute that programmatically and make it be known and make a lasting impact. So today I'm going to take you through a brief overview of our offerings. So when you look at what Rhythm One has and what we've acquired to build over the last several years, the chart on the left is actually what we call the consumer purchase funnel. So at the very top, you can see awareness, and this is going to be media like advanced TV, connected TV, that's going to bring eyeballs to your message by the masses. In between, we have interest, consideration, and intent. And on the right-hand side, you can see our product offerings lined up to match each of those fields in the left-hand purchase funnel. So at the very top, we have targeted advanced TV programs, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. And in the middle, you'll note influencer marketing. And so those are the two we're going to focus on, and I'll tell you why in just a sec. So spoiler alert, I heard you guys were working with Equality Florida, and I wanted to make sure that we tailored our presentation to products that were going to ultimately help you make a case to solve their challenge. So while I don't know what the challenge is, I was taking a little bit of a guess as to what we can do to help you. And so on the left-hand side is our premium video and advanced TV offering. This is going to be basically interactive, in-banner, in-stream video ads across screens. So that would be desktop, mobile, tablet, and then what we call advanced TV or connected TV, which we'll get to in a moment. That's going to be your smart TVs for the most part, and then mobile web as well. And then on the right-hand side, we'll talk about influencer marketing. So that's going to be what I just mentioned, where you can actually customize and curate a campaign of influencers to talk about the Equality Florida message, and then you can distribute that programmatically to reach people across social platforms and in mainstream digital media as well. So on the left-hand side, I think the reason you might want to consider premium video and advanced TV is for the sheer fact that the user focus is moving. And by that I mean that, you know, the days of CBS, NBC, and ABC, with all due respect, it's become a more fragmented marketplace. So we'll see now that, you know, people are streaming television on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, and watching video on the web increasingly, and then in a lot of cases actually doing both at the same time. So if you're like me, you might be guilty of, you know, watching a show like, you know, the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and then actually looking up who the actors are on your second screen. So the benefit to running in premium and video and advanced TV with Rhythm One is that you can reach some audiences that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to reach. You know, while our data shows that most of the generations, including baby boomers, are using streaming media more than ever, you actually also can reach an increasingly large audience of what we refer to as cord cutters and cord nevers. So these are folks that have never had traditional cable and are not watching broadcast, and they are strictly watching television through these streaming services or through video content on their smart televisions. You can also reach multi-screen users. So as I just mentioned, folks who are looking at one thing on their television and kind of looking at the other on their phone, we have the ability to tie those devices together and offer a true cross-screen opportunity so that we can reach you wherever your attention happens to be directed at the moment. You can also geo-target video in advanced TV. So the thing to note here is that, if you wanted to buy video and only make sure that it was reaching folks in Florida, because that is probably a very key geography to you, then you have the ability to do that with us. Don't worry about pricing or avails or anything like that. Just know you can do it. And then lastly, it's impactful and visual. So, this is where you can show video footage. This is where you can interview people. As we all know, video is really an amazing medium for building awareness and engaging people in a way that no other media can do. On the right-hand side, we talk about influencer marketing. So the great news about this is that as social media platforms become an increasing source of content consumption for people, and as influencers start to become a bigger part of how we consume and compartmentalize the information that we're given, this is a great way to reach people in a creative way, but also to be able to cross into social media and help get your message heard in that platform, whereas the only previous way to have done that was to see if somebody would cover, the issues organically. Here you actually have the opportunity to put together an influencer program. And the benefits of that are that you can hand select influencers based on their content, their platforms, what they have to say. If you see something that you don't like, we can remove those influencers. We can build a program for you based around folks that you feel will be best vehicles for this type of message. You can have a social media presence. It's measurable by engagement. So the way we would report back to you is going to be based around how many people you've reached and how many people engaged with the message. So there is measurement behind that. And also, lastly, because you can distribute it programmatically. So there's a way to take the content, have an influencer build it, and then put it out in the form of an ad to attract people to not only add that influencer to their network, but again, to ultimately see your message. So what are we talking about when we're talking about advanced TV? I know this can be kind of a broad scope of things to think about, but it's basically all of the devices that you see here. It is, an ad, a full screen interstitial that you see on your mobile device when you're scrolling through content. It's a short form video when you're inside of an app. It's in the middle of the screen, you'll see Conan and Mad Men. So there's an opportunity for you to place a static ad inside of a smart TV as people are surfing. We like to call this our last stop for gas ad, because this is usually one of the last things a user is going to see before they attempt to binge watch several episodes in a row and don't have an ad opportunity. And it's on your computer. It's really anything that's cross-screen video, whether it's in banner or pre-roll. We pride ourselves on being a leader in this space and delivering the most amount of scale in advanced TV of any company out there in the marketplace. So why would you want to look at advanced TV? Some of the answers are obvious and some of them are a little less obvious. So I'll give you some support. They're highly viewable and highly memorable. So, again, in advertising, the ability to tell a story and let a message resonate with somebody is invaluable, right? And so we've found that there's a 73% unaided ad recall when a brand is putting a great ad in the advanced TV marketplace. They're highly influential. So we found that in connected TV, if we have like retail focused accounts or brands that are focusing on sales, that there's a a lift in purchase intent. For your purposes, you guys are going to want to focus on awareness, I would think, but still a good thing to know. And then, typically we're able to garner really high video completion rates. So again, media and its success are often highly dependent on the type of creative you put together, but where and how you digest that is in some ways equally, if not more important than what you're actually trying to say. So it's important that you put things into the right environment. So when I talked about reach just now, we actually reach 67% of active connected TV devices. And we do this through a combination of streaming services, of what we call OEMs, or original equipment manufacturers, and app inventory. And altogether, that's about 55 million American households and 112 million consumers, and growing. So a common question we get at this point is, where can I see my ad? Where is this going to be played? And so this is just kind of a smattering of places where the ad could potentially be viewed. To the right, you'll see Sling Television, Newsy, Tubby TV, Freeform, Cooking Channel. These are all when you go inside of these apps on streaming or on smart TVs. This is going to be like pre-roll and mid-roll that's served inside of content. Or if you're viewing these apps on your mobile phone, or you're on these mobile sites, or you're on the desktop sites, these are going to be ads that are served before, in between, or after the content that's running when you're accessing that content. And then at the very bottom, you'll see the LG, Apple TV, Xbox, and Panasonic logos. So for Apple TV and Xbox, it's going to be very similar in that when you access a particular show or a particular app inside of that, which a lot of people are using gaming consoles to access streaming content, then that's going to run very similarly to what I described above with Sling and Newsy. LG and Panasonic are actually smart television manufacturers, and these are the OEMs I mentioned. They are going to have content that is available on the home page before you start streaming, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second here. So you're probably wondering now, well, how granular can I get with targeting? And the good news is we can get pretty granular these days. We have the ability to look at things like ACR, which is automatic content recognition, that can detect the type of content that a user is viewing and then use that to serve them an ad based on the fact that they watch something specific. We have purchase-based targeting, so again, based on people who are purchasing a particular service. What I think would be most relevant for you is probably just the ability to target by geography and maybe behaviorally and maybe even by age. So those are things to keep in mind. And so there are several types of content that we surround ourselves with ad inventory. So in addition to just running inside of an app or running in a streaming service, at the top we've listed full episode players. So you know that if you're accessing this content on demand and you're about to go into a full episode, that there are often ad breaks. So that's an opportunity that we offer. Short form, we just discussed, really. So if you're, inside of some of these articles or you're accessing a certain section of that site or that particular app if they have an app. And then we also have long tail exchange and user-generated videos. So these are things that are available on an open exchange for advertisers to buy, which I wouldn't worry too much about at this point, but just good to know that we have several sort of sources that we can tap into. A lot of the video content we offer is in stream, and it's not skippable, which is important because you want people to make sure to take the time to digest your ad, and we want to make sure that we're getting the right people in front of the message. So when it comes to OEMs, one of the unique things about RhythmOne is that we have something that we like to call a smart TV or a first impression unit. And that's actually on LG, Sony, and Panasonic televisions. So you'll notice if you are using a smart TV from one of those manufacturers that there is a main screen that you fall into when you're streaming content before you make your selection and go into watching that content. And so we have a static ad that you can place into that connected TV unit that can click into a banner, click into a video, click out to a social media. It has the ability to do anything, but why it's crazy important is that most of you will know that connected TV is a non-ad supported environment, and so by and large. So this is a great way to be able to get to somebody as a sort of, we call it first impression, but also as a last impression before they go into binge watch a video or a series. This is kind of that last place where you have the opportunity to reach them. So now we're going to move on to influencer marketing. And this is kind of a little map of how we work together, because I think a lot of clients are often confused and they say, well, how are you able to aggregate like a bunch of people? That seems like a lot of moving parts. But again, one of the beauty to RhythmOne's offering is that we actually plan influencer campaigns for you. What we like to say is soup to nuts. So we start with influencer discovery. We have a huge database and we've vetted several hundreds of thousands of influencers out there. And so we're able to sort through this database by engagements, by type of content they post, by how many followers they have, by even sometimes in some cases like who they've worked with before. And we're able to hand select them that way. And then what would happen is if you were to hire us and we were to work together, that Equality Florida would build what we call a brand brief, which you guys are probably familiar with. And so that would just be a basic synopsis of the messaging that you're trying to get across, the things that you want the influencers to highlight, the things that you'd rather they stay away from, things that you don't want them to talk about at all. And it just gives them kind of a guideline, sort of like when you're in creative production for an ad, of what they can and cannot discuss. And so that gives them the ability to write up a draft. And they will build their own custom content, and we will apply our proprietary data to it to track it, to make sure that people are engaging with it, to distribute it programmatically, to build ads from the content itself to drive people to add those influencers. And then ultimately we'll measure it and gauge the success of the campaign based on how viral it went and how many people were engaging, and really to assess the true impact of the message. So here's kind of how it lays out. You know, we have the brand, we've got the influencers who are out there representing the brand, we are capturing the engagements and the shares, and then we're actually continuing to distribute it as the campaign goes on so that we can recruit more users to follow influencers to see the content. So this is what we call influencer discovery, and this is really a very exciting part of an influencer campaign. We have what we've considered 4 different buckets of influencers, because the reality is that we often don't have, you know, the budget to support just a Lady Gaga, right? And I'm not even sure if Lady Gaga is an influencer, but hopefully she is. And so, you know, we have 4 different buckets: celebrities, platform sensations, which are people who are exclusive to their social platform and have a great following, a bucket called rising stars, where these people are gaining momentum in the influencer world and they're rapidly sort of adding followers, and then micro-influencers, and those are typically people who are very niche and specialize in one particular type of content. And again, like I said, these folks are all inside of our influencer database, and depending on the amount of budget that you give and who you're interested in, that is how we work together alongside you to cull an ultimate list of these influencers. And as I mentioned, they create custom content. But what are we talking about when we're talking about custom content? So we're talking about things like blog posts. We're talking about live streaming content, like on Instagram with a live story. We've done giveaways and prizing. We've done long and short form video. We've done event activations. So as an example of that, we've actually, one of our larger advertisers is a cranberry manufacturer. and they actually constructed a cranberry bog. And I think it was Madison Square Garden, and they invited people to come out and experience it just to sort of convey the experiential marketing of how their cranberries are freshly made, and to learn more about them. And so we've done several of these types. We'll do contests, we'll do giveaways. I think what's just important for you to know is that the content can really be whatever it is you decide to make of it. So. Oh, look, some more. We can do Instagram takeovers. We've done geo filters and live stories as well. So let's assume they've created content and you guys are okay with that, and everything's been approved. So what do we do with it? Well, once they have permission to post, we actually buy social advertising from the influencer accounts, and we post those social ads to help attract and recruit people. And then we also do what's called an influencer push, where hundreds of additional influencers are also creating posts that will distribute the content. So everything kind of gets amplified in this way, because we all know that influencers, if they're not being amplified, are only going to be as good as their following. And our goal is to kind of get beyond that following and make sure that as many people see that as possible. So why amplification? Well, in addition to what I just mentioned, there's about 120% increase in engagement for people who see it that may not have originally seen it. There's an increase in reach. It's a more efficient cost per engagement. So what I mean by that is you're paying X amount of money, but when we're reaching more people than you would have anticipated because they have certain amount of followers and we're amplifying that, then it costs you less to reach more people, and that's ultimately a good thing. And lastly, increased video views. So all good things, more engagement, more people looking at the message. Some more examples of what we do programmatically to distribute this. We actually will use our inventory, and we will create small ads based on the content that's been built, and we'll deliver it in native and display in video. And then we'll also build audience segments based around followers that the influencers have. So that way we're guaranteed to reach the people that are following these influencers outside of just that person's feed. And again, this usually helps make this buy more efficient for you, and it increases mobile traffic and ultimately the number of people that are going to see the message. So I thank you so much if you're still with me, and I hope that we've done you a good service for Equality Florida and given you some things to think about. Again, I'm Karen Resnick with RhythmOne, and good luck to you all. Thanks again for your time today, and we hope to talk to you sometime soon.